week 19 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I would look to drop this week. The first guy's Carrasco of the New York Mets. Carrasco, it's just been pretty much a lost season for him. He was out for 4 months, then he came back a few weeks ago after not appearing for the Mets, and he hasn't been good at all. 11 in the third, 0-1 record on the season, 18 hits, 13 runs, 5 homers already, 3 walks, 12 Ks, a 10.32 ERA, and a 1.85 whip on the season. So right here, Carrasco, I know maybe it's going to take him some time to get into mid-season form and stuff, but we're already in the mid-August here in week 19 of the season, so it's getting late. Fantasy playoffs are right around the corner in 3 weeks, and right now he's just not producing, and this Met team's in a tailspin, and right now they got 10 more games coming up for the Mets here versus San Francisco, at the Dodgers, and then versus San Francisco again. So a tough 10-game stretch coming up. They're not hitting, they're not giving their pitchers run support, and right now Carlos Carrasco isn't the answer after the last 2 outings for him. August 10th versus Washington, 1 inning, 4 hits given up, 4 runs, a homer, a walk, 36 ERA and a 5 whip. To his credit in that game, though, it was a suspended game after rain in the first inning, but the Nats got on him early in that one. Latest outing versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, 2 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 homers given up, a walk, 3 Ks, a 27 ERA, and a 3.5 whip. So right here, he was batting practice in that ball game versus the Dodgers. And guess what? His next outing is going to be at the Dodgers, either August 20th or August 21st. So right here, it don't look good here for Carrasco. And right now, I think it's just a lost season for him after a great season last year. And I don't want to deal with the headache, so I would drop him. The next pitcher I would look to drop, Sean Manaea of the Oakland Athletics. To talk about a guy really hitting the wall and struggling. The last 3 outings have been total disaster here from Manaea. And right now, he's been dropped in a few percent of fantasy leagues over the last couple days here. On the season, 8-8 record, 133 and 2/3, 131 hits, 56 runs, 18 homers, 33 walks, 148 strikeouts, a 3.77 ERA, and a 1.23 whip with 12 quality starts on the season. Last couple weeks for him, 11 innings, 0.2 record, 20 hits, 15 runs, 4 homers, 4 walks, 11 Ks, a 12.27 ERA, and a 2.18 whip. So right here, those are horrible numbers here for Manaea. And he's a guy that's not going deep into games the last 3 outings, and a guy that's been hit hard in 2 of the games were versus Cleveland and Texas, which aren't the greatest at hitting ball clubs. So August 3rd versus San Diego, 4 1/3, got the loss, 8 hits, 5 runs, a homer, 4 Ks, a 10.38 ERA, and a 1.85 whip. August 10th at Cleveland, 1 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks, a 16.20 ERA, and a 4.80 whip. And then August 15th at Texas, 5 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 7 runs, 3 homers, a walk, 5 Ks, a 12.60 ERA, and a 1.60 whip. So right now, I think Manaea is hitting the wall. Obviously, he came off a Tommy John surgery last season, and maybe right now, too many innings, wear and tear on his arm, and his arm's not built to 100% strength because he's already got 130 innings plus under his belt this season. So maybe the Tommy John is starting to cause some fatigue after not throwing this many innings in years here is Manaea. So right now, maybe he's hitting the wall, and maybe he can't be productive for fantasy owners because he's looked like a different pitcher and has been hit hard in his last 3 outings. The next pitcher is Joe Ross of the Washington Nationals. So Joe Ross, he's been up and down this season, but this national team went on to a fire sale a few weeks ago at the trade deadline, and they traded everyone away. Joe Ross, obviously, he's not going to get the run support like he did with guys like Kyle Schwarber there. Trey Turner was over there. Josh Harrison and Yan Gomes all gone from this roster, and now he's on the injured list with a partial tear in his elbow. So right here, with a few weeks left in the regular season, I think they're going to just sit him out for the season. There's no point in rushing him. Nationals obviously threw in the white towel when they traded all these guys away, so there's no reason for Ross to come back this season. On the season, 108 innings, 5-9 record, 98 hits, 50 runs, 17 homers, 34 walks, 109 strikeouts, a 4.17 ERA, 1.22 whip and 8 quality starts. And the last couple weeks for Ross, 11 in the third, 11 hits, 7 runs, a homer, 3 walks, 9 Ks, a 5.56 ERA, and a 1.24 whip with a quality start. So right here, he was an up and down pitcher. We saw good games out of him, and then we saw horrible games. And then the last 2 outings before he went down, August 5th versus Philly, 6 in the third, 5 hits, 3 runs, a homer, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a 4.26 ERA, 1.11 whip and a quality start. And August 10th at the Mets, 5 innings, no decision, 6 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 2 Ks, a 7.20 ERA, and a 1.40 whip. So right here, I think that's the end of the season for Ross. And there's no reason to hold on to him in keeper leagues and obviously redraft leagues. So he's a drop this week. The next pitcher is Drew Smiley of the Atlanta Braves. So Drew Smiley, he's still owned in a decent amount of percentage of fantasy leagues at 35. And right now, he's just another guy as well. He don't go deep into games. He rarely gets a quality start or a decision. And this Brave team, I could see them maybe replacing him in the rotation with Yona coming back and possibly Ian Anderson in a week or two as well. So on the season for Smiley, 106 innings, 8-3 record, 108 hits, 53 runs, 20 homers, 38 walks, 96 strikeouts, a 4.5 ERA, and a 1.38 whip with 6 quality starts. But the last couple weeks for him, 14 innings, 1-0 record, 14 hits, 8 runs, 2 homers, 4 walks, 13 Ks, a 5.14 ERA, and a 1.29 whip with a quality start. So right here, like I mentioned, he's only won 6 innings once since July 2nd here is Drew Smiley, and that's not going to get the job done. And like I mentioned, the Braves have reinforcements on the way, and we know Smiley throughout his career has been a swingman as well in the bullpen, and I could see that happening for him. August 4th at St. Louis, 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, no decision, 1 homer, a walk, 2 Ks, a 6.75 ERA, 1.75 whip. August 10th versus Cincinnati, 6 innings, got the win, 2 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a 3 ERA, 0.67 whip and a quality start. And August 15th at Washington, 4 innings, no decision, 6 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 4 Ks, a 6.75 ERA, and a 1.75 whip. So right now, not good numbers, not going deep into games, and he's better off on the waiver wire, in my opinion, because he don't bring much to fantasy teams here. And the 5th and final pitcher I will look to drop this week, Kyle Muller of the Atlanta Braves. So Kyle Muller here, I thought he was going to be good this season, and one of the top prospects. He was ranked coming into the season in all of the major leagues, but he has 36 2/3, 2-4 record, 26 hits, 17 runs, 2 homers, 20 walks, 37 strikeouts, a 4.17 ERA, and a 1.25 whip in the last couple weeks here for Muller. 7 innings, 0-1 record, 7 hits, 9 runs, a homer, 5 walks, 4 Ks, 11.57 ERA, 1.71 whip. So right here, Kyle Muller, it just didn't work out for him, and the Braves had enough of him, sending him into the minor leagues. And always going to take his spot, Muller, in the rotation tonight at the Miami Marlins. So the last few outings here for Muller, July 31st versus the Brewers, 5 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, a 1.20 whip. August 6th versus Washington, 4 2/3, no decision, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a 5.79 ERA, 0.86 whip. And then August 12th versus Cincinnati, 2 1/3, got the loss, 5 hits, 6 runs, a homer, 3 walks, and a K with a 23.14 ERA and a 3.43 whip. So right here, horrible numbers for Muller. He wasn't going deep into games, and I think that's it for him this season. Now we see him on the Braves roster in a big role as a starter, unless a couple guys get injured or whatever the case may be. But right now, there's no reason to hold on to him. The Braves saw enough from him in this season, and they sent him to the minors, and fantasy owners should drop him as well. So that's a few pitchers I would look to drop here in Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.